All right. So in this case, we are going to consider a typical exam question. This is November 2023 exam that we are going to have. So as to understand how our questions are going to be given as we are going to be having our exams soon. So you need to know the topics that you're going to be having. Remember, as I said before, from the simplification of our topics that we are going to be working with in this term, and also considering all the topics that we had from your term one. So we are going to see that, and we are going to add another question paper also so that you can see typical questions. It's not like we're going to be having exact these questions, but you're going to be having questions which are similar to the ones that we are going to be having. So let us quickly go through our questions. We are given on question number one, choose and circle the correct answer. That is, out of these answers that we have, which one is the correct one? On 1.1, the third multiple of 2.5 would be what? What is the answer that is equivalent to the third multiple of 2.5? All right. Let's say we are considering multiples. Let's talk of normal numbers that we are used to, like whole numbers. Let's say we have got 2. What are the multiples of what? Of 2. So we've got 2. We consider 4. We consider 6, 8, 10, and so on. These are multiples of 2. Each of these numbers, when you divide by 2, you are going to obtain exact values from there. All right, let's consider this one to say we know the multiples of 2. I want you to see this from whole numbers so that it will be easier for you to understand this one. Let's say the question is asking you the third multiple of 2, meaning to say they are saying this is the first multiple. We move on. This is the second one. This is the third one. So meaning to say if we were considering 2, the third multiple is what? Is 6. So how can we actually obtain this number 6? Let's say we do not know this format 2, 4, 6, and so on. How can we obtain the third multiple? We simply multiply the number that we are given 2 times what? They are saying the third multiple, you multiply it by 3, meaning to say you're going to have a 6. So let's consider what we are given in this case that we have. So in our case, we are given 2.5. So what would be the third multiple? So it is simply 2.5 multiplied by what? By 3. Just like what we saw if you're having these numbers 2, 4, 6. If it is 3, 6, 9, the third multiple is just 3 times 3, which is 9, which is the third number that we are seeing there. So even if you are given a fraction like this, the third multiple, just multiply by 3. Meaning to say if it is the second one, you multiply by 2 and so on. The number that you're given here is the one that you multiply. It's a multiple. You simply multiply by that number. So if it is the fifth multiple, you multiply by 5 and so on. Whatever that you're given there. So what is the product of these two? That is the question. How can we multiply these two in terms of our fractions? How do we multiply these two? 3 and this is 2.5. We can convert this to an improper fraction. It is up to you in your conversions, or you can have this one as a decimal the way that you understand. Remember that 2.5 is same as what? Is same as 2,5. So if you multiply this by 3, what are you going to have? Okay, 3 times 5, that is going to be 15. We've got 1. 3 times 2, which is 6. We add a 1, which is 7. Remember the comma. We've got 1 comma there. So this is 7,5, which is same as what? 7.5. Or you can just multiply this direct on your calculator. This is paper 1. And we are having only one answer there, which is 1 mark. So on your calculator direct like this is 2.5. So how would you have this? How are you going to have this 2.5 on your calculator? So you're going to have shift, all right, on this fraction. You press that, all right? So as we can see, we have got this representing the whole number, which is our 2. Then we are going to have this part of a proper fraction, which is 1/2 like this. then we are simply going to multiply this to 3. That is 15 over 2, which we can convert to another fraction, which is a mixed fraction. If we press shift to this SD, as you can see, it's going to give us 7.5, which is the same answer as what we have in this case. So we can simply have that product on our calculator. This is a direct part. As you can see, guys, just one mark that we have there. So meaning to say, our answer was going to be on A, 7.5. So multiple of, simply multiply that. If it is the second, multiply by 2, depending with what you're given. But in 1.2, you're given to round off. Okay, this number rounded to the nearest tenth. So remember, if you are given these numbers, these are the units. Then, they've got the units on this part here. Let's say this is the part of the units. Then after the comma, as we can see the comma, let me rewrite it, this number here so that you can properly see. This is 6, 7, 2, 4, 8. There is a comma there. Then we've got 4, 5 like this. So we have got the units. So when you're referring to the 10th, this is the after the unit, after this comma. That is where we have got the 10th. And there is this tens, which is written with a capital letter T, and then the smaller one, which is the 10th. So this is the one that we are referring to, this. So if we are to round off to that number, what is going to be the effect? The effect is going to be on the next digit, which is 5. What is the effect to this 4? What is going to be the effect? Is this 5 going to change this 4? Or it is not going to change this? So 5 is going to change as long we have got 5, 6, 7, and so on. These numbers, they are going to change the next digit. So meaning to say the 4 is going to change into a 5. So in place of 5, we are going to have what? A 0. The rest of these digits are not affected, as 6, 7, 2, 4, 8 is not affected. So this is what we have. So this is what we're going to have. So my network is affecting very much. So we just have, I don't know if we're going to be together. So that is from this part, we have got, right, this one. And also we have got the part of the ladder. So we just have to divide until we get the numbers. So I just hope we are together in our simplification. Because due to the network, I just hope we'll be able to finish up. So let's consider 3.5. Calculate the following. 3.51 we are given, that is 12 minus 21 divided into this. So let's see what we have here. That is 12 minus 21 divided, that is 36. There is also a division here of a minus 4. All right. So this, we just need to consider our body mass, as we have our body mass, or you can have that as bomb dust. Some they can use this as bomb dust like this. It's just one and the same. You can just use that. So there is a bracket that you have to consider, but under this bracket, we've got a subtraction. 12 minus 21 is a bracket. Remember, we've considered what? The brackets. Also here we've got a bracket. So you're going to simplify this bracket at the same time simplifying this bracket. That is what we have there. So simplifying this, that's 12 minus 21, which is a negative 9 divided to, we are dividing this bracket here. It's a division that we are having, 36 divided by a minus 4, which is going to give us what? A negative 9. So that's a negative 9. Negative 9 divided by negative 9 is just like you are given 3 divided by 3. Just like 3 over 3 is what? It's 1. So if this number is the same as this number you're dividing, you're going to obtain what? A 1. So just like minus 9 over minus 9 like this. This will cancel. We obtain what? A 1. So that was going to be our final answer, which is a 1. So for 3 marks, that is enough. Simplify again on this question. We are given that's minus 3 plus 2 into minus 3. So if we are to consider there, that's a minus 3. 2 times minus 3, a positive, and a negative will give us a negative. That's minus 6. Minus 3, minus 6, which is a negative 9. So these are the stages which are important just for your simplification. Then consider your fractions, calculate and leave your answer in the simplest form. On 4.1, you are given 4 over 5 of, that is of, simply means times 3,520. What are you going to have? So that is of, simply multiply. So you can reduce this, guys, from your simplification. We can have 5 into 5, which is 1, into 35, that is a 7. 5 into 2, that is a 0 in that case, remainder 2. And 5 into 20, which is a 4. So this is 5 here, which is going to be a 4. Then we multiply these two now. 4 times 704. So that's 4 times 4 there, which is 16. 4 times a 0 there, that's a 0. Then we're just going to add a 1. So that's 1. 4 times 7, which is 28. So you're going to have 2,816. But this is you guys and your exam. You're in an exam. Just use your calculator for that simplification. Just use your calculator. You're given 4 over 5 times what? This number that you're given, 3520. You can prove that. And see you've got the same answer, 2,816. So you can verify that from your calculator. Again, simplify this. You can consider the whole numbers on their own. Remember the simplification of the fraction. This is 1 and 2. You add 1 plus 2. That was going to give you a 3. Then you consider the fractions separately. This is 3 over 4 plus 1 over 5 minus 2 over 5. So we are going to have 3. So what are you going to have from these fractions separate? We can also use our calculator just to verify. We can just to simplify this. That is 3 over what? 3 over 4. We add 1 over 5. That is going to give us 1 over 5. Then minus 2 over 5. Can simplify this. That's 11 over what? 11 over 20. So that was going to give us 3 and 11 over 20. Can simplify that. Can add, subtract at the same time. 4.3. This is 1 over 3 plus 1. This is 2 over 2. But you may know that 2 over 2 is same as 1. But for the sake of our multiplication, remember the body mass concept. Where there is addition and multiplication, it is multiplication that has to start. So these two are under a multiplication. So let's multiply these two. How were you going to multiply these two? That is from here, the multiplication there. So if you're given fractions like this under a multiplication, if we have a condition where the numerator and the denominator are the same, or there's something common, you can reduce this. 2 into 2, that's a 1. 2 into 2, that's you can divide by 2. Meaning to say, you're going to obtain 1 over 3 plus 1 over 2. This is 1 times 1, which is 1 over 2 times 1, which is a 2. So you can add this. At this stage, you can even use a calculator there. Or you can find the LCM or the LCD of 3 and 2. 3 times 2, that's 6. We divide. 6 divided by 2. 6 divided by this 3, sorry, that's a 2. Then 2 times 1, which is a 2, plus 6 divided by this 2, that's a 3. Then that 3, you multiply it to this one, which is a 3. Then you can simply add 2 plus 3, which is 5 over 6. Or at that stage, you can simply use your calculator. I also want you to understand how to use your calculator in the simplification. Again, a BODMAS can be used on question 4.4. Yes, it's addition and subtraction. You can also consider that. Addition first. Before we consider subtraction, we have to add. which terms are under addition? We take the terms which are carrying a positive. This one is carrying a positive. This one is carrying a positive. So it means we can add those two together like this. 5,21 plus 3,83. Whatever that you're going to have, we are going to subtract 9,62. That is, we can consider that. So adding these two, we are going to obtain 9,04. Then we subtract 9,62. As we can see, 9,62 is bigger than 9,04. So our answer is going to be a negative. So it's going to be 9,62 minus 9,04. But the answer will be carrying a negative. So that's negative 0,58. Or just use your calculator there. Your calculator is going to give you the exact value, minus 0,58. Exponents on question number 5. 5.1, simplify this. We need to simplify 5 squared minus the square root of 81 plus 3 squared. So you can see that 5 squared simply means 5 times 5, which is what? 25. Minus the square root of 81. 81 is same as 9 squared. So the square root of 9 squared, we know that this is what? A 9. Or simply the square root of 81 is a 9. Plus 3 squared, 3 times 3, that's a 9. So what are we going to have? So if you consider these two, that's a 0 there. Minus 9 plus 9, we can see that's a 0 there. So we are remaining with what? With a 25. Or you can add the first these numbers. Remember, in case of addition, subtraction, any part can start. We can combine this way, as this is our addition. We can combine that way. It's still fine in our simplification. Or you can add the first 25 plus 9, then we subtract a 9 at the end. Still, we are going to obtain what? A 25. On 5.2, the square root of 144 minus 4 to the exponent of 3. The square root of 144. 4 to the exponent of 3. What is the square root of 144? The number that multiplies itself to give us 144 is what? That's a 12. Remember the square root of 12 squared. 12 times 12, 144. Minus 4 to the exponent of 3. That is, you're multiplying 4 times 4 times 4 to the exponent of 3. 4 times 4, that's 16. 16 times 4, that is 64. So that's 12 minus 64, which is a negative. That's minus 52, which is simply 64 minus 12. Then the answer is going to carry what? A negative, as we are subtracting a bigger number from a smaller number. So this is how some of your questions will be given as 9 to the exponent of 0 times 3 squared plus 3 plus 2 to the exponent of 3. We just have to follow our laws of exponents. Any number raised to the exponent of 0 is what? That's a 1. Times 3 raised to the exponent of 2. 3 times 3, which is a 9. Plus 2 to the exponent of 3. 2 times 2 times 2. 3 times. 2 times 2, that's 4 times 2, which is 8. So there is a multiplication and addition. BODMAS again has to be taken into consideration. Multiplication first before addition. So you have to multiply these two numbers. What is the product of 1 and 9? 1 times 9, that is 9 plus 8. So if you add 9 plus 8, that is going to give us what? A 17. We have to consider that part. The BODMAS again, wherever we have addition, multiplication, this, you have to consider that. On 5.4, we have got the cube root of 64. What is the cube root? The number that multiplies itself 3 times to give us a 64. So that is 4. 4 times 4 times 4. So meaning to say, we have got a 4 minus 3 plus 1. What is 3 plus 1? Inside of the bracket, 3 plus 1 is 4 raised to the exponent of 2. So we are going to have 4 minus what? 4 raised to the exponent of 2. That is 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is what? Is 16. Then we can subtract 4 minus 16, which is minus 12. So guys, it's just like that. Your laws of exponents, remember, your laws of exponents. On question number 6, you are given patterns and functions. 6.1, consider the figure and the corresponding table below. So you've got this figure 1, 2, 3, 4. That is the first shape. But if you check the 1, 2, 3, 4, this is the 4 number of blocks. 2, our main blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are 7 blocks and so on and so on. So they want you to answer this part as we are to consider A, B, and C. Okay, so our question there is to complete the table by writing down the values of what? A, B, and C. So if you consider, guys, we are going to count, like here we're going to count. These are going to give us 10 as we see. These ones are going to give us 13. So what is exactly that is happening or between these blocks that we are having from the shape that we are given to say the first shape, the second shape, in terms of the blocks, what is happening? The first one we saw there are 4, second one there are 3, third one there are 10. We can see that there's a difference of 3 there. If we subtract 7 minus 4, that's a 3. 10 minus 7, that's a 3. So from each, there's a difference of 3. So if we add 10 plus 3, we are going to have 13. Meaning to say we can find the next one by adding a 3. 13 plus 3, which is a 16, by adding that 3. We add a 3 again, 16 plus 3, which is a 19. We add a 3, 19 plus 3, which is a 22. So these are the numbers which we can also have, 16, 19, 22. The difference between these blocks, we have a difference of 3. From one to another, there's a difference of 3. So we can simply add that difference so that we obtain the next one. So remember your number patterns, guys, your linear patterns also. So they want also to use that. They're asking you here to write down an algebraic rule that describes the number sequence in terms of n. How are you going to have that from these? Because we saw that it is forming a linear sequence 4, 10, 4, 7, 10, 13, 16. Those are the ones that we are going to use now for the linear pattern now, the algebraic rule. So from the numbers that we are given, 4, 7, 10, and so on. Remember, I say that you need the difference. We saw that there's a difference of what? There's a difference of 3. There's a difference of 3. So it means Tn is equal to the difference of 3 times n plus, we are supposed to find the value here that corresponds. So let's just say this is C. So we have to find the value of C. So we can simply say the first term, this one, is our first term, the second one, the third one. So it simply means like this, T1 is equal to 4. T2, the second term, is equal to 7. T3 is equal to 10. So these are the values of n. And these are what you put in place of n. So if n is equal to 1, our Tn is what? Is 4. So we can substitute 4 is equal to, but n is what? N is 1. So you can find the value of C. It's an equation that you have now, where you can solve for what? For C. So 4 is equal to 3 times 1, that is 3, plus C. Take this 3 to the other side. 4 minus 3, that's 1, is equal to C. So therefore, our Tn is equal to 3n plus C, which is our C is what? Our C is 1. So that is what we simply needed from there. Then on 6.2, they want you to write the relationship between these 1 corresponding to 3, 2, and 4, 3, 5, 4, and 6, and so on. So we can also use the same situation as what we had, or the same scenario of having it in terms of Tn, or you can have it as a function. Remember the issue of a function, y is equal to mx plus c. It is the same, the part that is representing m here is the same as this part that we had when we wrote the part of Tn is equal to 3n plus c. It is a linear sequence. The same thing with this part is a linear relationship. We can see that there's a difference of 1 here, a difference of 1, a difference of 1. So it means y is equal to, in place of m, which is the difference, that is 1x. But 1x is same as what? 1x is same as x. So y is equal to x plus c. There we have got 1m there. The difference that we have in between these terms, there's a difference of what? So to find the c, we can substitute the same way that we had, like to say the first term is equal to 3. So there we have it as x and y. So we can substitute, like to say if x is 1, in place of x here, if x is equal to 1, y at that moment is what? Is 3. So that's a plus c that we have. So you can find the value of c. Take this 1 to the other side. It becomes a minus. 3 minus 1 is equal to c. So that's a 2, which is equal to c. So therefore, our equation or the relationship is going to be y is equal to what? X plus c. Our c, which is what? Our c, which is a 2. Just like that. So you can have these typical questions like that. On 6.3, we were given, so this question, it was complete the table and plot the values on the Cartesian plane below. So you're given y is equal to x plus 5 from 1 up to 6. These values, they represent ax. Remember, I talked about this on the graphs, the functions. X values, the y values. So it is just a matter of substituting where x is. You substitute the value that you're given. So that is y is equal to 2. In place of x, we substitute a 1 plus a 5. So that is, we obtain the value of y. 2 times 1, that is 2, plus 5, which is a 7. So you're going to have a 7. You do the same thing when x is a 2. In place of x, we are going to substitute a 2. So that is 2 into x, which is 2 plus a 5. 2 times 2, which is a 4 plus a 5, which was going to give you a 9, and so on. So you're going to have this 11, 13, 15, 17. So I want you to substitute in place of x where this number is. You substitute a 3, you substitute a 4, you substitute a 5, you substitute a 6. You're going to obtain these values. You can also use your calculator. So they wanted you to draw or to plot this graph, to plot these values. But if you check the values of y that we have there, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17. On this graph, we have 10, like we are ending up to 10. We cannot have 11, 13, 15, 17. So the graph that we are being given here was not going to be able for us to obtain this because of these values, 13, 15, 17. But I just hope, guys, with a proper graph, you are going to draw this. Remember, guys, I talked about this issue of marking the points, like 1, this is 1, 2, 3, and so on. So this is the same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. 1 is corresponding with a 7 to say this is 1, and we need a 7 here. This is 1, and this is a 7. They meet at this point. You mark a point like that. The same thing, 2 versus a 9. This is 2, and versus a 9. 9 is between 8 and 10, somewhere there. You mark a point. So you're going to see that as you mark these points, 2 versus a 9 here, it was going to be 3 versus 11. It was going to be out of the graph now. We cannot mark this and finish up. So that is why I'm saying, according to the graph that we are being given on this question paper, it was not going to be enough. It was just a mistake that happened there. Let's just hope next time we're going to have something being corrected as we are to work with our questions, because something like this, it can disturb in our revision. So if you're to consider on question number 7, which is algebra, we are given to determine the value of x for the following equations. So to determine the value of x, that is to solve for x. So the first equation, it was 2 over x is equal to 10. How can we solve for x? We can simply cross multiply. This is same as 10 over 1. Remember, any whole number can be written as over 1 like that. So meaning to say, by cross multiplying, 4 is going to multiply the 10. 1 is going to multiply the 2x. So 2x times 1, that is 2x, which is equal to 4 times 10, which is a 14. So this is 2x, a product. From the reciprocal, we'll just divide by 2 to obtain the x value. 40 divided by 2 was going to give us a 20. So that is what we're going to have on this part on question 7.2. Again, it is to solve for x. 8x plus 2 is equal to 26. Simply take the 2 to the other side. It will be a minus there. So it will be minus 2. So meaning to say 8x is equal to 26 minus 2, which is 24. So dividing by 8, both sides, just from the multiplication that we had before, we are going to obtain a 3. 24 divided by 8, which is a 3. Then 7.2, we have got a bracket. So distribute, remember we talked about the distribution there. So we are supposed to distribute this by the 3 that is outside of the bracket. So the 3 has to multiply everything inside. 3 multiplies x, which is 3x. 3 multiplies 2, 3 times 2, which is 6. So this is equal to 4x minus 5. So as we can see, we've got like terms, the terms where we've got x. So we have to collect these terms together. The part where we've got 3x, we also have 4x. These are like terms. Considering the constants, there's a 6 and a minus 5. So as the number crosses the equal sign, it changes the sign. So we're going to have 3x. We take the 4x to the other side. It becomes a minus 4x is equal to, there is already a minus 6 on the right-hand side, a minus 5, I mean. We take the 6 to the other side, it will be a minus 6. It was a positive. The moment it crosses or it jumps the equal sign, it will be a negative. So that's it. 3 minus 4, that's minus 1. So we've got minus 1x. Or minus x, which is minus 1x is equal to minus 11. So what is the value of x? We have to divide by minus 1 to have the exact value of x, not minus x. So x is equal to what? It will be a positive 11. So this is the x value that we need. All right, considering 7.4, we are given 4x squared, that's 7.4, we are given 4x squared over 2 is equal to 8. So you can even consider the cross multiplication. This is the same as over 1. So you can cross multiply by 2 here by 1. So you're going to have 4x squared is equal to 2 times 8, which is 16. So if we divide by 4, both sides, we are going to have x squared, which is equal to 4. So introduce the square root. Remember the square to remove the square. Introduce the square root. That is to neutralize this square that we are given. So x is equal to the square root of 4. Which number are we going to use? A number which multiplies itself to give us a 4. 2 times 2, that's what? A 4. So in actual sense, it was supposed to be plus or minus 2. But even if you write a 2, that's okay. But the answer is supposed to be what? Plus or minus. There are supposed to be 2 possible values that we can use. So even if you divided the first, you can even divide the 2 into 4 here, which is 2. So you've got 2x squared, which is equal to 8. You again divide by 2 here. So x squared is equal to 4. As you can see, you're going to have the same stage. Then you introduce the square root to determine the values or the value of x. 12x is equal to 75 over 15. So there we can simply divide 75 divided by 3, which by 15, which was going to give us a 5. Then 12x, that's a product. So how do you find the value of x? You have to divide the opposite there from the multiplicative inverse. So divide by 12, our x was going to be what? 5 over 12. So it will be a fraction as it is 5 over 12. Considering question number 7.6, 2x times 3 is equal to 6. There's a product there. A product. So 2x is also a product. So how can we find this? We can divide by 3, yes, which is fine. We can divide by 3. This one cancels. We remain with 2x, which is equal to 6 divided by 3, which is a 2. 2x is equal to 2. We have to divide again by 2. So meaning to say x is equal to what? 1. We could have divided in the actual sense 2x times 3 is equal to 6. These are the numbers that are multiplying x, 2 and 3. And what is 2 times 3? So you can simply multiply by 2 times 3. You divide by what? By 2 times 3. The 2 and the 2 cancels. The 3 and the 3 cancels. You've got x, which is what? 6 over 2 times 3, which is 1. So this is how your questions can be given, as you just have to work out as many questions, try to do as many questions as we can. So like I said, I'm going to have another typical exam question again so that you can compare also to say, okay, this is how the questions are going to be like, so that you can work more questions which are similar to the ones that we are having, because they are just going to repeat these questions, guys. It's just going to be a repetition of these typical questions. So you just have to work as much questions as you can. So that's it. Till we meet again.